Spore, the game that visually shows you the stages of evolution and becoming an average Twitter user, from microbe to city-destroying nuclear weapon-wielding star system conqueror in the name of spice and democracy. This game is so old, it came out at the same time as the global financial mortgage crisis. And if that's not enough, it comes with a 31-page PDF manual on how to play. My goal for this video is to dive into this glittering world without having even touched the game once, and attempt to create the most aggressive creature in the universe, one that will crush everything under its iron fist. Whether or not I succeed, well, there is only one way to find out. So 3 billion years and 5 minutes ago, a huge meteorite crashed into the ocean, and from it, Chick Splitter began its life. At this stage, we're a green amoeba, who is extremely hungry. However, it quickly becomes clear that we are far from the top of the food chain here. It's a strong argument for keeping your head on a swivel. But as I ate other creatures, my genetic satisfaction level and my size grew, and before long, I was eating my previous neighbors for lunch. And voila, the first modification. Spikes that I can equip to future generations of Chick Splitter. For that, I need to hit the mating call button and did a little dance with my partner. These spikes help me in many life-threatening situations, but not all of them. Still, my persistence and deviousness paid off, and I developed the ability to leave a poisonous trail behind me. This often came in handy for stuffing my stomach full of stupid creatures. Some of them could shock me, some had 10 mouths, and others could move at the speed of sound. Luckily, in this tiny zoo it's never long before you move on, and after about 20 minutes I was ready to evolve to the next stage – land. And for that my little green terrorist needs a bit of makeover. In the editor you can change everything, from body structure to color and the placement of limbs. Isn't it adorable? The land stage is basically just like the amoeba stage. We live near our nest, produce and modify our offspring. Modifications either come from digging through skeletons scattered on the ground or killing other creatures, like for example these cute cucumbers. This continued until after hatching a baby, our entire tribe suddenly decided to just stop and move to a new location. And my partner and I were left behind to catch up. However, before that we had to deal with the last witnesses to our war crimes here. After locating our fellow round creatures, our nest grew even larger. It now looked less like a humble abode and more like an average pigeon's dorm. I carefully surveyed the surroundings for interesting modifications and called over a partner to begin the mating dance. Upon hatching, we had to undergo a special initiation ceremony, which essentially involved copying the emotions of an adult member of the tribe. This is also how the recruitment process works. Thus, my squad grew to 3 green devils, tearing and rending other creatures' backsides. But my carefree wanderings couldn't last forever, and soon enough I met them, Croctopus. They couldn't care less about my battle power, and they ripped my ass to shreds. Then again, and again. After rummaging through the remains of past civilization and tumbling through red geysers, I thought I'd never achieve absolute dominance. How could I, when even eggplants with horns for arms could beat the crap out of me?
We are compassionate.
Oh yeah! An actual UFO that's stealing animals from the planet? That was definitely not on my bingo card for today. Anyway, after countless hours of eating other creatures, my brain reached a sufficient level to start using sticks and other materials to craft tools. This advances the Chick Splitter to the next evolutionary stage, the tribe. At this point, Spore switches from a third-person violence simulator to a full-blown, real-time strategy game where you can upgrade your base and gather resources, specifically the one main resource – food. Of course, it couldn't be that we were the only tribe around, so very soon we encountered our first competitors – the purple humanoids. I spared no one, no women, no children. Soon their camp was destroyed and their totem was placed on our altar of vanquished foes. To speed up our meat production, I handed out access to every war camp, and the food supply floated into our treasury. However, it was too early to celebrate because another neighboring tribe was already actively tearing down our tent while we were busy slaughtering wild animals. Barely scraping by, I managed to fend off these invaders with huge losses. But just as I was vulnerable, a third tribe, armed with spears, attacked me. Nasty little creatures. Restarting, I began gathering meat again, this time with the goal of using it to birth more children, future warriors. Once their number met my satisfaction, I destroyed the purple tribe's camp again and started breeding even more warriors. As scripted, after that, a tribe armed with spears and torches attacked me, and of course they failed. And while the spear tribe was feeling low, I quickly paid them a visit and returned the favor. To prepare for the final destruction of the remaining tribes, I had to stockpile some food and recruit more fighters. I even sent some to catch fish. And after celebrating 2 easy victories with my tribe around the campfire, I set off to destroy the last tribe, the one farthest away. Luckily, they didn't stand a chance. And once that was done, I unlocked the ability to transition to the next stage of development – civilization. Here, I could start building my modernist buildings. And if you are too lazy to mess around in the editor, you can always just save other players' buildings and use them as your own. Looking ahead, when you observe other civilizations and their structures, you likely see creations made not by developers, but by other players. Meanwhile, I had just finished constructing my town hall, Anesthesia House. Obviously, as the most warrior-like nation, I needed the most terrifying tank, Shellzilla. And with that, we were ready to conquer the entire planet. Firstly, it is needed to capture these guys known as spies in common parlance. Yes, I know you are all feeling the Dune references. You are not alone. As soon as the first well was established, it was time to build my first boat, Floaty Mac Boom Boom, and send it off to gather spies from the ocean. However, since it had already been captured by another civilization, my fleet had to forcefully take control. At that moment, the third civilization, which I will call the Yellows, attacked me, and I promptly destroyed their tank. Now that we were in the civilization stage, my people needed a place to live, so I quickly built them homes, factories, and brothels for some relaxation. But none of that mattered, because while I was busy constructing, 5 yellow tanks and 2 ships arrived at my walls and wiped me out. Restarting, I immediately started capturing the 3 spice plots near me and mass-producing military tech and turrets to defend my city and capture the neighboring Red City, which the Yellows were also eyeing. Luckily, my strength was enough to take that juicy piece from them. However, by pouring all my resources into defending that position, I completely forgot about my home city, which, as you can guess, led me to attempt a third time. And this time, I began aggressively taking not only the spice geysers near me, but also trying to snatch some from other civilizations. I built more factories, which gave me more spice per hour, and most importantly, the ability to start construction a small army. However, despite my efforts, a full army of Yellows arrived by sea and land and destroyed everything I had built. At one point, I honestly thought it was impossible to win. But that was before I realized that the health of my enemy's machines was much higher than mine. Just look at the difference, almost double the health. So I returned to the editor, realizing my mistake, and after a few minutes I significantly increased the damage and health of both my tanks and ships. On my 4th attempt, I played even more aggressively, trying to seize every spice plot in sight. And I began to feel like I was in control. I quickly captured the first Red City near me and started building tanks to send to the Yellow capital, which had once seemed like an impenetrable fortress. Turns out it wasn't so tough after all. The next city to fall was another Yellow stronghold, and before long I controlled all the cities on my continent. My next and last target was the Blue Nation, and when there was just one city left, I spotted a little icon at the bottom with some nice bonuses. A gadget bomb that could destroy entire cities, and an ICBM that could obliterate everything. I really wish I'd noticed it earlier, but hey, I could still use it on the final city. And if you you're curious about what the gadget bomb is, I will demonstrate it on our distant ancestor who took a slightly different evolutionary path. Sleep tight, Daddy. Finally, the space race stage. The one that took me the longest, a whole 11 hours. And the grand final at this stage is the journey to the center of the galaxy. But we are not even close yet. First thing they teach me is basic controls. Up, down, left, right. Next, we learn how to scan flora and fauna. And then collect it onto our ship. And you get it, right? These little details really make the world feel alive. And for that, respect to the devs. In the meantime, let's hunt down some animals to clear the population of infected species, after which we purchase our first galactic engine, allowing us to travel between planets. Upon arriving at a neighboring one, I receive a strange signal from a crashed alien ship, proof that we are not alone here, and as a bonus, I get to snatch its level 2 galactic engine. Investigating the crash leads me to the home planet of these now dead aliens, where I find only a destroyed city and a nasty security system, perfect for learning combat. I then start exploring other systems and find my first live creatures, though sadly they're still at the tribal stage, so I decided to show them my good intentions and hope for a peaceful collaboration a billion years from now. And few systems later I encounter some real aliens. First the Oskar, whose city I try to capture and fail miserably. Then the Kirgul and Gulgan, who, to put it mildly, aren't exactly thrilled to see me. But then the cute little apex monkeys smile at me. Now that's important, because well, from bit experience, it becomes clear that my strategy of aggressive murder needs an upgrade. It's time to shift to aggressive negotiations and alliances, at least in the early stages, because trust me, you will need this in space. After mastering the political strategy, I zoom off to a neighboring system and establish my first colony, one way to expand an empire. But right now, this colony is useless because I need to tweak the planet's atmosphere first. Raise or lower the temperature and fill it with the right flora and fauna. But honestly, this expansion thing is kinda boring. The best method is old school conquest, baby. So I start hopping between systems, planting colonies when I can, and reselling spice from my cities. But money is tight. Seriously, have you seen the prices? After a while, I noticed my little fleet can now hold 2 ships. But here is the catch. This slot can only be filled by a ship from an allied species. Now that I've got a second ship, I'm looking at better health and firepower. Slowly I start doing all the boring endless quests, defending my planets, buying and selling spice, and fulfilling missions for other civilizations. Hours of constant work. And I finally reach a rank where I can add a 3rd ship to my fleet. This one reminds me of Theodore Roosevelt for some reason. With this new crew, I launched my first big expansion toward those jerks, the Gugan, who've been itching to insult me. It wasn't easy though. Their home planet had 8 cities, each packed with defense turrets and flying ships. I kept having to retreat and come back. But milestone achieved. I captured the planet and now it gives me 30 red spice per hour. More spice means more money means new upgrades, and those upgrades make city captures way more efficient. Next target, the Kurgla, who, surprise, aren't exactly thrilled either. But hey, who cares? When they have no cities left, they won't be complaining. And just like that, I got bombs strong enough to capture cities in 4 seconds, even with the active air defense systems, which means I am now an unstoppable planet capturing money-making machine. So what happens when you can buy whatever you want and conquer whatever you want? You hit an existential crisis. So I set off for the center of the galaxy, marking the true endgame. Luckily, some systems have wormholes that can, if you're lucky, throw you closer to your goal. But then the devs pull a fast one on me. The thing is, around the center of the galaxy lurks the most aggressive species called the Grogs. These guys aren't just reluctant to talk to you. They'll tear you apart at the slightest hint of you trying to enter their systems. And for more pleasure, as you get closer to the galactic center, your ship's travel range significantly decreases. So after just a few seconds, you're forced to choose the nearest system, then jump to another nearby one, then another, each time under heavy fire from the Grogs. Might I remind you? The first hour of my attempts, I just decided to charge in blindly, hoping my repair kit would be enough to keep me alive. I tried, and tried again, and again. Then it hit me. Alliances. I needed allies who would take the hit while I sneak ahead. The result? Well, let's just say it was explosive. Exhausted from failure, I decided to use the pauses to carefully consider which planet to target next, and then I noticed something funny. If you don't linger too long between systems, the Grogs don't attack because you are technically just flying through. And that became my golden key to success.
Greetings, my friend. You have traveled very far and overcome many obstacles. Along the way, you have encountered many of your diverse, far-flung
It's Steve! And Steve gave us the ability to terraform planets instantly to 100%, something that's nearly impossible in normal circumstances. And also invites us to his neighborhood for a cup of tea. That's all. So with that, my mission to dominate the galaxy as the most feared creature can be considered complete. Yes, I didn't capture every planet, and I didn't wipe out all the Grogs, but I could have if I wanted to. That's the definition of power, isn't it? Anyways, after 25 hours of gameplay and many deaths in struggle, I can confidently say that Spore is a creation born from love and imagination, crafted by developers who truly wanted to make a great game. I really love it. Now head over to my next video. I worked really hard to make it for you.